It's 64 boy.
Scratch.
Dressing the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Dressing the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Dressing the culture, I'm adjusting the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come and adjust the culture, huh? Brick by brick, you get your boy Big Wall, and you already know the vibes. I am here with my ace boom coon, my right hand, P.stock in the building, and we here to do what we do best, and that's address the culture. What's going on with you, Big P? What's going on, man?
Hey, it's time to address the culture, and that's what I got to say, and it's been going good, man. I want to thank all the followers, viewers, and subscribers.
Yes.
Definitely leave comments.
Yes.
Let us know what you want to see or hear. Definitely, press the like button, smash that like button, and definitely hit us up, follow us. We everywhere, and we can't do it without y'all.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
For real. But yeah, it's been an interesting week, with seeing you talk about especially with the murder of young Dolph.
Yeah.
On the hip hop side of the culture.
Yeah.
And then the trials and everything going on. But that side of the culture, it's kind of hectic. It's leaving people scratching their heads. But that's what the culture is about. That's what we here to address it. Let you address it. And to a sense, tonight is what we have is a continuation with Grandmaster Darren Tabon from the Angels Disciples Stockton group, which he's doing some great things, training people in FMA. And I don't like to speak for these guys because these guys, you hear it straight from it. I don't even want to mix with it. But he's doing great things. It's the big events coming up on December 4th. From the Twin Dragons in San Carlo. But also another incident that we reported on that I'm going to ask Darren about, and we're going to talk about that, which is pretty deep. That's going on back in Hawaii. So I don't want to hold up anything, and let's bring in Brother Darren and let's talk about it.
Let's do it. We're gonna welcome Brother Darren to the show.
There he is.
Welcome to the show, brother. Look, okay. he having a little technical difficulties, but it's fine. We're gonna bring it in and we gonna finish the conversation. But
yes, we definitely gonna bring him back in and get that started. But you definitely, if you're following Address the Culture and iHip-Hop TV and all the platforms, you're watching, you see Big Wall's work. So you see the news and the stuff he's putting out there, you know, as far as that's keeping the culture up to date and addressed, and at the same time giving you stuff to smile and
Yeah.
stuff to make you go, you know, you know, which the things are good, you know. So,
Yeah.
so most of the times, but you know, that's what addressing the culture is all about, you
Yeah.
know, and to
Yeah.
keep everything addressed, and that's why you know we bring in all you know the culture across the board,
Across
the
the
whole
board.
ecosystem on this planet, the Earth.
Yeah.
So the culture with the FMA and the martial arts, and the FMA, for instance, don't know or didn't catch the last show, is for Filipino martial arts,
Mm-hmm.
which is you know a lot of people, you know, each I guess you could say each continent and each society probably has their own forms of martial art. Uh, the FMA is a very I'm familiar with it. I've picked up on it. Uh, back in you know back in my travels going to the Philippines and everything, when I first run across this, they called it stick fighting. So you know it's one of those things. But we want to bring this to y'all and bring this in and make this thing huge. You know, with for this event coming up for Legacy 8, December 4th in San Carlo. We're gonna make it happen. So we're waiting for Darren Tabone to come back in, you
Yeah.
know, and then we're gonna get right on with it, you
And you
know.
know, I think he's getting ready to come in. But when you speak on this, that's why we have to spend a block to kind of talk about it again because it's so much when you talk about the legacy and the
The
organization
legacies.
and the
That's
mind
right.
frame when you come like they take it very very seriously. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And we
Yep.
got such a great response from our last show. You know what I mean? Where people really want to kind of understand more about it, the technical, the mind frame, the discipline. You know what I
Yep.
mean?
Yep.
It's something that's huge, and I think the values and the morals are things that can be spread throughout the culture. You know what I'm talking about when we talk about standing for certain principles, doing
Right.
things with a certain level of understanding. Because what really impressed me was that in order for you to be a seven, you have to complete a six or teach a
Six.
six. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep.
And I love that mentality, man, because with that mind state, the artist never lost. You know what I'm saying? It's always able to grow with each generation. You know what I'm saying? And I thought that was super dope for the culture.
No doubt. No doubt. That and that is and that's why this is a series because the history attached to the origin and what it's been through and the involvement, the whole art, you know, evolve, you know, is huge. You know, for the FMA and for the grandmasters and the students, and that's what we're hoping to make more people aware that this exists, and for more people to come in and want to participate and learn more. And that's why we're bringing all these grandmasters and masters from all different parts of the country that you might can tap into in your area if you happen to see them, and you can get with them, get into a class, get into a schedule, and check it out. Man, it's great. You know,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a lifestyle.
It definitely is. You know what I'm saying? And it's not something that should be taken lightly. You know what I mean? And
Not at all. Not
not
at
at
all.
all, not at all, not at all. It's one of those situations that I like. I, it seems like people like their whole lives. It can take you your whole life to reach a certain level. You know what I mean? To get to a point where you are considered to be a grandmaster. You know what I'm saying? It's a
Right.
lot of levels. You know what I'm saying that it takes to get and reach certain levels, man. And like I said, with the culture, it's just amazing. You know what I'm saying? And I think if some of those thoughts and some of those morals and standards will spread it out throughout the culture. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? I
Yeah.
think it would be more people that stand for something. You know what I'm saying? Because like you said, we lost Young Dolph this week. You know what I
Yep.
mean? We got the
Yep.
Rittenhouse trial. You know what I'm saying? That's going
Yep.
on, and there's so many different things in the culture. But I feel like that we lost those principles and those morals along the way, and if we identify with some of those, a lot of things in our culture when we talk about hip hop and urban, so on and so forth, in the hoods and the streets where we come from in our communities. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? I think a lot of those morals could help uplift our culture. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And that's why I kind of gravitated to that because that's needed. You know what I'm saying, P?
Right. Right. And that's big because uh, you know, the more people that see it and catch on, the more and get into the lifestyle. And like you said, that would curb violence, that with gunplay. That's the big thing, because we're losing too many people. And back in the day, that we can go and fight it out, settle your differences, and live to fight another day. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
in some situations, today for some reason it's not going that way. They're quick to pull a gun. They're quick to take somebody out, and that is one of those things that I don't understand. Growing up in the age that we studied martial arts for self-defense and everything, and we fought and had fights and whatnot, so we dealt with it. We wasn't thinking about reaching for no gun. When I came up, and I can't speak for a lot of people out there and a lot of things, but when I came up, when you went to jail or anything, people considered you a sucker. That was a sucker move because you didn't talk about it. You wasn't, if you went to jail, you ain't want nobody to know you was locked up.
Yeah.
Because when you get locked up, couple of things. It's that perception that you're snitching while you
snitching.
out.
That's a fact.
That you're snitching. So while you out here, and then you lose the trust of people in the community, or people you can't get a job. The stigma that goes along with that. So that's the way I came up in my era. It was looked at. If you went to jail, the OGs called you a sucker.
Yeah.
You was locked up. You was a sucker, man. Beat it, man. Get away from us. And that's the way it went. And now they shoot you. There was no taking it in the alley and settle it, and then, next time be prepared.
Yeah.
But and that's the way it is with the way it's going on, the climate. Every city.
Yeah.
If you go look at their news, there's somebody shot. And
the culture is in an uproar, and that's why we on this platform we're gonna tackle these conversations and have these uncomfortable conversations so we can spark the minds and hopefully make some changes. And that's why we got our guest on today. I think Brother Darren is ready. We're gonna pull him in, have a conversation with Brother Darren so he can tell us about his wonderful event, and we can get some of these other grandmasters and future legends to come on as well. You know what I mean?
That's right.
Brother Darren, what's going on?
Grandmaster Darren Tabon, here we go. From the Angels Disciples of Stockton, California.
Darren Tabon, giving a shout out from Stockton, California. I'm here with IHOP TV, addressing the culture with P.stock And Bigg here. What an honor and privilege this is. And I want to thank you guys for this. Also, a big shout out to Al Udine 19, brother. Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, big shout out to Al Udine 19 for real.
Absolutely.
Making things happen.
Absolutely.
But we're happy, because the history of the FMA and the art and everything, and that you teach, and we're just happy, and it's an honor for us that you're bringing this on our platform and letting our viewers and subscribers get this experience that they might not have ever heard of or picked up from anywhere else.
I hear you, but Legacy 8, it's going to be fabulous. 18 teachers headlining. Reason why we had technical difficulties is because about 4 of them were trying to contact me while we were opening up. And every time they called me, I couldn't hear you guys. It threw off my mic, okay? So I had to literally shut off and turn back on twice just to reconnect, and hopefully they can connect. Hopefully they can connect.
I see we have a few, that connected, so we're gonna bring them on. So that's a good thing. So
we do. So look, we gonna bring them on, you know what I'm saying, so we can get started, and we want you to tell us what's so special about this event for those who didn't get the opportunity to see it the first time. Introduce these wonderful guys, you know what I'm saying, tell their story, let them tell their stories, and we're gonna invite them to the culture, man, because this is a wonderful event that needs to be acknowledged. So let's welcome our other guests in, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Hello, sirs. How are you? It's Sachi here.
There you go. Right, there they go.
Okay.
Sir, it's Roger Bulos, Los Angeles, Filipino martial arts. Thank you so much.
Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Respect for all of you.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Welcome to the
Thank
show.
you.
Welcome show. We want to thank you guys for coming through. You know what I mean?
Yeah, your time to share your art with our
Absolutely.
viewers, you know,
Absolutely.
our followers.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I see 4 very good friends of mine, great martial artists, great escrimadores. We have Master Joel Juanita's Bahala School, Stockton, Jerome system.
All right.
We have Master Roger Agbulos, RUGM, Lameco system under the late Grandmaster Edgar Salite. We have Sachi Villarreal out of the East Coast. He's the grandson of the late, great Ben Lima, Lightning Scientific Arnis from the Philippines, but he is now living in the East Coast. And I got my brother Bradford Namahoe, Grandmaster here. He's originally from Hawaiian Islands, and he comes from the Villarreal system out of Hawaii under the late Grandmaster Rudy Orlando. So it's an honor to have you folks here, to even get to see you guys before December 4th. And it's a privilege. So whoever one of you want to introduce yourself to Bigg Wall and P.stock, have at it. Have at it, man. Let's have a good show here.
That's man, you chasing it, man.
Boy.
Scratch.
Dressing the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture, I'm adjusting the culture, huh? Adjusting the culture, I'm adjusting the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture, we gon' talk about it. Come adjust the culture.
Brick by brick, it gets your boy Bigg Wall
and P.stock here, you know, for addressing the culture. It's that time.
Okay, there you go. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah, we
Welcome
hear
to the show, Master Joe.
Can you hear me now? Good?
Yeah, we hear you.
All right, brother. Hey, man. Sorry I missed last week. I couldn't make it. Technical difficulties, but you know, we're on the show now. We're gonna share. We're gonna be able to meet everybody. Thank you, Bigg Wall, P.stock for hosting. Letting me be a part of this. It's really a pleasure to share the art. I'm coming in as a fill-in. Originally, my colleague, Master Kirk McCune from Orange County, was originally supposed to present the weekend for Legacy, but for health reasons for his son, he couldn't make it. So he asked me to fill in. But that's what we do, right? Somebody can't make it, they step up and fill in that gap. And that's what we do at Bahala, you know, more than enough people to step up and fill in that gap when we have to. Hey, man, if nobody does, who will, right?
That's right. That's right.
Keep it going. We're going to represent Bahala. Stockton 209, man, this is where it's at. If you don't know the history of Filipino-American martial arts, Stockton's where it's at. These are where the greatest martial artists, Filipino martial artists came from. back in the day, Stockton was the biggest population of Filipinos outside of the Philippines. That's Filipino American history. That's something you ain't gonna learn in public schools. That's something you gotta dig and you gotta look for yourself. As a native Stocktonian, I was born and raised here in Stockton. I know the old doors, grew up with them, just like GM Darren. He knows the history of the old timers, and those are the shoulders that we stand on today to share this art. Some we're very proud of. My history goes just beyond just the Filipino martial arts. It's Filipino American history and how that history intertwines with the martial arts. You'd be surprised how many young Filipino cats don't know that we have a martial art. Yeah, and it's sad. It's really sad. They think it's kung fu or karate or some other thing, and people in the industry, they teach it as a supplement, and that's not where I'm coming from. But Filipino martial arts stands on its own. It's not a supplement to anything. I'm not going to stand behind no other art. This all I know. Bahal Na is all I know. I never took no karate. I never took no kung fu, no ninja, none. I'm from the street. I'm from the hood.
I like that. From the hood. Dress the culture.
Look like. I know what evil look like.
Yeah.
I've been jumped. I've been stabbed. I've been shot at. I've been chased by the police. I know what real violence is. It ain't no McDojo. Me and GM Darren, we've been growing up on the streets. We grew up in the backyards. We was training our martial arts, respective martial arts. Since we was little kids. We grew up with the old manongs. The manongs is an elder in Filipino martial arts. We call the manong as an elder, and now I'm the elder. GM, Darren, we the elders now. We the old school.
Yeah, we the elders now, man.
Yeah.
We the OGs coming up.
Yeah. Time flies though too.
Yeah.
And it's I gotta tell you, I have no problems, taking up that mantle. I'm very of the art, on the set. We all got something unique to show and to share. And, we all have unique histories and experiences that we can bring to the table. And that's what makes these events so important. Because before internet, before COVID, man, what was we doing, man? We was trying to, word of mouth. It was word of mouth back then, trying to tell it hard and trying to figure out who was who and where they were at. But now we got internet. You can show off on YouTube all your art. You can do this and that, and then so everybody know you. Everybody know you. So, but we're a backyard art, man. We came from like I said, we come from the hood. It's just, some of the great martial artists came from my neighborhood. Daniel Santo, Angel Cabales, Leo Heron, the Latosa family. That's Stockton, man. That's intertwined with the Filipino American experience. I mean, can you imagine jumping on a boat, 15, 16 years old from the Philippines with a couple of cents in your pocket and coming to America, the land of opportunity?
Yeah, that's what they call it. Yep.
Yeah.
Right? And you come here to a foreign land and you're going to try to make your way. Amen? Yeah. Amen. Because, and then you hear of Philip came and they fought in the World War I, Korea, Vietnam, and the Philippines, when the Filipinos came here, man, they were working in the dirt. They was picking asparagus. They was picking grapes. They was picking cabbage. They were picking river cane in Hawaii, pineapples in Hawaii. They was picking fish and salmon, fishing in Alaska.
Yeah, salmon.
The Filipinos were the backbone. They were the ones picking the crops that were feeding Americans, back in the day.
We definitely can relate. Definitely.
Oh yeah.
Mexicans, Filipinos. We was working side by side with Filipinos. If you know the history of Cesar Chavez, Larry Itliong, it was first ones that strike that formed the early history of unionization in farm labor work. those were Filipinos, and some of those Filipinos were great escrimadores. You know, a lot of people don't know that history, man, and that's what I bring to the game, man. I try to bring that history of how Filipino martial arts and the Filipino American history intertwine, and how we can show the young people that, you know, there's more than just sticks and knives and trying to be somebody up. You know, it's more than that. It's responsibility, right? We teach our kids self-defense, right? What is self-defense, right? Well, discipline. You know, discipline is stuff like that. You know, I tell my students the greatest self-defense against uncertainty is preparedness. Prepare yourself. And that's common knowledge, man. You ain't gonna go to the ATM at 2:00 in the morning in the bad side of town, right? That's the first line of self-defense, is common sense, right?
Yeah,
so
you lessen your percentages. You lessen your percentages of bad things happening.
If you know it, you ain't gonna go to the wrong side of town. If you know it, you know, you're gonna avoid it. You know, if you're gonna go to a place that you know is gonna be hot, you don't go there. You know, if you know someone's wearing the wrong colors at that party, you're not gonna go to that party. So it just takes common knowledge, and the first line of self-defense is just common sense. You know, if you have to pull your steel, then you done fucked up, man. You know, if you have to pull your knife, if you have to pull your weapon, you failed as a martial artist, because you could have avoided that situation. You could have de-escalated that situation. You could have done a lot of things. You didn't have to fight, right? You know, but in the Filipino martial arts, we use this art, we train this art, so we don't have to fight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right? Because we learn to fight. It makes you humble. It makes you humble. It makes you say, you know what, dude? You know, you come across some cat that had a bad day and he wants to talk shit to you. You just say, hey, man, I'm cool, man. I don't want no trouble. If you can de-escalate the situation without having to beat his ass, then that's cool. You just avoided a whole mess of problems with not just him and you, but the law. Once you get the law involved, man, you know, judged by 6, care by, you know, judged by 12, care by 6, right? You don't want that. I don't want that. You know, it's all about love, man, and being understanding, and the art just tempers your soul. It just makes you a better person. You know, so I haven't been into a fight since I started martial art that I have started. You know, all the fights I've been into, motherfuckers started with me. You know, I never started no fight. You know, when I started training with Uncle Leo. And that's a testament to his training and his teaching, you know, just to humble yourself before other people. Respect everybody, man, until they don't respect you. Amen? All right, bro.
Amen.
So I don't want to keep talking, man. You get a Filipino on mic, I'm going to keep talking all night. I'm going to give my brothers a chance to talk.
Yeah. Hey, but that's real though, man.
That's real,
That's real. You know, I dig everything you said, man. It's a certain mentality, especially when you come from them low-income areas, the less fortunate, you know what I'm saying, to have something positive to gravitate to that gives you discipline makes you understand principles and morals, and not only give you the confidence to be able to defend yourself and have the confidence to deflect the situation. When you know you can whoop everybody around you, you know what I'm saying? It's a different mind state. You know what I'm talking about? You ain't really got nothing to prove, none of that. You know what I'm saying? And I think that mentality is something that I love about you guys' culture, and the fact how serious that you take it. You know what I mean? It's definitely something amazing, man. I can hear Master Joe talk, you know what I'm saying? But we gonna get some of these other dope other stories, you know what I'm saying? We gonna go to Brother Roger, you know what I'm saying? When you could tell us your story, tell us how you got involved with it, and tell us why this situation is so important to you.
Yeah.
Oh, my turn now?
Yeah.
You're wrong, Roger.
Right. Well, first of all, I am honored, and honestly, I'm really intimidated by the big names on here in the show right now. We got Darren DT, of course, Big Wall, and we got P.stock. I should change my name to P.stock Roger, maybe something like that. I am just nervous. Anyway, nice to see brothers here like Fred, how are you? It's been a while. I've had a chance to meet, I think, Bradford in some events during the Legacy. So Well,
Yeah.
no, I think Master Joel as well. So it's with a company of great names here. I am honored. So compared to your experiences, I'm just a baby here. So, you know, but I enjoy the study of martial arts, and I've been doing this since as not as long as probably as most of you guys, but I've had a chance to start doing Filipino martial arts in 1990 under the late Punong Edgar Solite. And the style, of course, is called Lameco, meaning the our specialization comes to all these ranges, which is La Meco, meaning largo, medio, corto. And the beautiful thing about Edgar Solite, with I'll just call him Edgar, but of course, it goes with respect and title and all that stuff. The
Hmm.
beautiful thing about Edgar Solite is that his approach is really based on application. So he he's kind of, the others would call him the Bruce Lee of martial arts, because he was so open minded that he got the application, the best of the best of a lot of styles out there from that's why Lameco is really made of basically five major systems, seven minor systems. Among those that he covered was Cali Lustrissimo, De Campo, even including Pico de Tercia, which Ferd here actually is from, and some other, including Doce Pares. So he put the best of the best of what he believes is something that contributes to the development of application base. So the Edgar's thinking is about applied base. So he kind of reverse engineer about the methodology as far as like application based. So he believes in the concept of you train how you fight and you fight how you train. So um, we do a lot of growing up in the martial arts, experience with him. We did a lot of sparring, and
Hmm.
we focused on attribute development. And so when he passed away in 1997, we had no leadership, but most of us individually has continued our journey. Even in his absence, we became strong by holding on to the principles that he taught us. So here we are. Like for instance, at least for me, I was able to have this opportunity to express the Lameco art system
Hmm.
in California, in the different states of the U.S., as far as like Canada, Mexico, and even Australia, UK, Serbia,
Hmm.
Amsterdam. So I'm just given this blessing, and I'm all out there to represent, our beautiful country, the Philippines, as well as Filipino martial arts. But
Hmm.
but the focus is application based. So it doesn't really matter whether there's a style or what, whether it's supposed to be a numbering system. It doesn't matter, because the bad guy is gonna hit you with or without a label. So
Hmm.
Absolutely.
yeah, the
That's right.
idea here,
That's
the
right.
idea here is understanding motion, the economy of motion, physics aspect, geometric advantage, and all that stuff, right? And even understanding not only psychology but as well as the ambush effect of subtle movements. And that's the beautiful thing about martial arts. When we practice it, it opens our mind to a lot of things, and we become much more receptive and much more the development of intuition because of our continuous practice and repetition, especially in the applied base of the activity which we chose, and that is martial arts. So
Right.
I can go on and on like Master Joel here,
but
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 Yes.
we love that, like, cause that's kind of digging into the DNA of it, right? You know what I'm
Right.
saying? When you kind of like trim the fat, so to speak, when you kind of make it precise to this movement reaction, this movement,
right.
that reaction, where you can narrow it down and you can get to the point where you precise in what you do. That's what we call leveling up. You know what I mean? And that's dope in the culture because it all comes back to discipline, right? It all
Mhm.
comes back to focus and structure and
Yes.
Hmm.
understanding that this can influence and take your life to a whole nother level. And that's
Right.
why you guys' story is so important, man. So I get what you're
Hmm.
saying, brother.
Well, sometimes we get so much carried on by the lineage of where we belong.
Right.
And that's a beautiful thing because there's loyalty, there's admiration, there's love built into that lineage that has been worked on by the instructors before them and all those generations pass on that hits us that we learn from them. But it is important that the study of this is should not be prioritized on the lineage per se, but it is important that we have to give ourselves the chance to evolve. It's so therefore we don't get struck with geometric preferences of a particular style. Example, like for instance, like Aikido is into circular or Wing Chun is to direct. So if we, as an example, I'm not really an expert in that, but so is the FMA systems. You know, they have preferences of whether largo, medio, corto. But in the aspect of combat range, there shouldn't be any preferences for it. It is what works. It is what the doctrine should be. I am the one man standing, and nothing more. So it is important that we approach ourselves with application base. So therefore, when we do that, it will give us a lot of things that will straighten us out because the 80% is Pareto rule of 80-20. The 80% of what we're taught is not workable actually in the real streets. So it's just far out. We should remain evolving, but in the truth. The truth is application based. So,
Yes.
So I can go on and on like Master Joel, right? But
Yeah. Yeah, and we understand that because
yes, correct.
like you said, the traditions that go along with it.
So like I love
tribal.
this idea about brotherhood because then it opens our minds to the other system, not just getting stuck to the lineage that we belong to, and it's
right.
Eventually it is to our demise when we do so. So the thing is about, like, for instance, let's just get into the focus of sparring. As the sparring is not just the application of or the study of patterns, because we do a lot of patterns, we drill a lot of that and all the stuff. But it's important to kind of put in our heads that in sparring, or much more in the real fight, it is important to understand psychology, because it's not just about seeing the opening. Because that is the reason why in MMA, FMA, or the big arena of sports, right, with multi-million-dollar that's being broadcast all over the world. That's why we see double knockouts and all the stuff, because of that psychology of going for the opening, not thinking that the other guy would also think about the same. So when it comes to weaponry, you're both dead.
Yeah.
You cannot be in that manner. Sometimes the saying that the best defense is offense, I would think of it that the best defense is offensive, but with a interception in mind, so that you cannot just jump in the water without knowing how deep it is, or crossing the grassland without knowing the terrain. It is actually, all the beautiful thing that you could put in there is because of the open-mindedness of not just sticking to your system, but other system. So anyway, I hope I'm not reminding you of your mother-in-law's rants. So
Not at all. Not at all, man. We dig the conversation, and this is to everybody here. This is an open forum. This is an open panel, so you guys can jump in at any time and give piggyback off each other and give some feedback to it. You know what I mean? This is definitely an open forum. We just want each of you guys to get an opportunity to kind of speak.
Come in and speak your history.
Absolutely. But this is an open forum, so please feel free to hop in at any time and piggyback off any comment you guys hear.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Sounds good.
For real.
So we can move on, Brother Darren. You will introduce the next, person that's going to tell us their amazing story.
Stories,
We have GM Bradford Namahoik. We have Tuhan Fur Torado, and we have guru, maestro, Sachi Villarreal.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Sachi.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
He's on the East Coast. Everybody else
Yes,
is on the
representing the
West
East
Coast.
Coast.
He's representing the East Coast. You came over to the
Uh,
cold. You over in the
yeah, I
cold.
know it is cold. I sneaked up a little bit earlier, so it's like I got to say hi to Big Wall and P.stock. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I was like
Yeah.
so starstruck. But
Yeah.
I really want to thank you all guys for having us. Not just me, but all the wonderful masters that are here and their different traditions. So
Mhm.
I'd like to really make a big shout out and gratitude to Grandmaster Darren for inviting me to what do you call this to Legacy,
Mhm.
because my story that is might be different from others is because my story is about family, and I I started my training with my father. He at 7 years old, he was an Filipino martial artist. He was an arnisador. And he was an enthusiast, but he was no master. He was also a student, and he introduced me to his grandmaster. That's how I and that's how I learned. That's how I started learning the Filipino martial arts. And Filipino martial arts is very cool for a kid, because you don't see a lot of martial arts on the first day of training. They give you a sword to fight with, or you give you a stick. So like, if you're a little kid, you get to play with a stick or a sword. It's
Right.
always great. So right, so yeah, learning. So I got introduced to his teacher. And
Mhm.
you the good thing about before, there was no gyms. So my father brought me to this like small hut in the village, where his teacher comes in, uh teaches. It doesn't even teaches it. There's no school in there. In the provinces, you don't enroll into a school. You're passed on a legacy. So basically, you're you if the teacher likes you, he's accepting you as a student. They don't, it's up to you if you want to donate something to them. But there's no school at the time with the old guys. So I came in, and the old man was called Lolo Mayong. So he said, Lolo Mayong, can you teach my son? Is he ready? He's 7 years old. And the old man told me, he's like, let's see. So he said, young man, come over to me here. So I came uh, face to face him, and he took out a small wooden, I would say a wooden knife, or get a wooden stick, and he said, I'm gonna try to hit you. Okay, don't try try not to move. You have to trust me. I'm not gonna try to hit you. So he has a stick, like, I'm a 7 years old boy. He tried to like poke me in the eye like this. And and he was just testing if I was blinking or I was scared and anything. So I just kept my focus, and I understood that I totally trust him, that he's
Mhm.
not gonna hurt me. And
Yeah.
he said, that's what I was looking for. The trust. You trust me, and you didn't flinch. So he looked at my dad and said, he's ready.
He
And
ready.
then
That's
that
dope.
that that's
Yeah.
how they
He's ready.
they accept students. As I said, there's no big gyms or anything. And that's how I started learning. And then down the road, when I was like 11 years old, I got introduced to my grandfather. And I
Mhm.
realized, because the Philippines are like 7,000, 107,000, 107 islands. My
Mhm.
grandfather lived in an island in the northern part of the country. So he comes into our island in the Visayas, maybe once, twice a year or something like that. So we don't uh, get to see him that often. So when a time when I was ready, I got introduced to him. And um, my father was vice governor then of our town. And what his projects was, the first thing he did, because he was really into history, and he was also a Buddhist monk before, when he was vice governor. So,
Right.
and as the other masters told you, in the Philippines, because our NIS is basically almost at that time invisible. No one knows about it, especially in the small towns. Like, it's a very we are a very colonialized country. We would rather
Hmm.
study martial arts from other countries first than
Yeah.
Hmm.
ours. And
Yeah.
they would think like, this martial arts, they don't like it because, like, you don't see people in kimonos and stuff. These are like this is a martial arts of the farmers. These are
Yeah.
like, because the farmers, they have their swords they use for farming. They used to gather tuba or wine, and then sugarcane. So, and in the time, like my grandfather, Grandmaster Ben Lima, when he started, he was a guerrilla fighting the Japanese.
Hmm.
So they really used their martial arts
And
to
that in
in
the
that in
wars.
combat in the combat,
Yeah.
because they were
Hmm.
doing jungle warfare. They were doing ambush. So,
Hmm.
you were outnumbered if you're gonna do guns. So they sneak up in there in the night. You hack them with. So
Hmm.
that's how he style involved in the war.
Hmm.
So uh, he applied it onto his system. And also my grandfather learned judo in Japan, in the Kodokan. So he applied his style, which he learned from his father, plus his other Japanese martial arts, like his judo, applied it to a system. Now, what now we call lightning scientific arnis. So
Hmm.
I started under him at 11 years old, and like the grandmasters of the time, this like they have an aura to them.
Hmm.
They have a certain regality to them, but very down to earth. Very very down to earth people, and then
Humble.
they
Very
very
humble man.
humble, and they speak slowly. And then that's what the dangerous men are,
Yeah.
because the people who like to talk a lot, they're hiding something. But
Yeah.
the
And they,
guys who are
they talk
silent,
slow because they want you to understand what they're
yeah,
saying.
yeah.
Make sure you understand. You
Yeah,
know
they're
what
not.
I'm
And
saying?
the thing is, like, they're not selling anything. They're not
Yeah.
selling anything. You would see. I I I've heard like a true quote I've read once. A true
Hmm.
strength. You can feel true strength. You don't even need to speak about it. Some people,
Absolutely.
people
Hmm.
who have a certain inner strength, you would feel it. You would feel it. That they have it.
Hmm.
You feel somebody who's dangerous. You would feel it. Somebody who's dangerous, they will not tell you like, hey, what? A lot of people now you see would like carry four guns just to show off. We
Hmm.
don't do that in the
Yeah.
Philippines. The more you try to hide your knife under, um under your belt. No, nobody wants to know that you know how to fight.
Hmm.
Yeah.
One of my teachers, one of my grandfather's what do you call that, high ranking students, he was also in and out of prison before, until he got trained. But he got the streets instincts. uh,
Hmm.
and he would always tell me, never show off, because right now we see all the other martial arts. Of course, I understand, but we all show on YouTube and everything that we know martial arts, and we know how to defend ourselves. But
Hmm.
in the provinces, they said, keep your training secret. Learn this from the backyard, and you understand it, how you defend yourself, but don't show it off. Because if your opponent, we are a small town, if your opponent knows that you know how to fight, he's not gonna fight you in front. He's just gonna hit you in the back with the knife, and then you're done.
Hmm.
So yeah, because if
Backstabber, right?
that's it.
Backstabber.
Because if you any bully or anyone who wants to commit a certain atrocities to you, if they know that you are a threat, they're not gonna fight you in front.
Absolutely.
They're gonna sneak up in the back. So we try to keep it up, but my father also understand that we needed to market Filipino martial arts into our own. So we had to he created demo teams. So
Hmm.
we did demonstrations to the schools, to the far flung towns, just to educate people that this is our culture. This is ours. Nobody has it. Nobody has
Yeah.
this art. We
Mhm.
need to learn it, and we need to understand its roots and its history. And we did that with, and then he invited my grandfather to the provinces to do demos. We have big demos. We invited all the other masters from the islands to showcase the art to everyone. And
Mhm.
you know how it took 15 to 20 years before Filipino martial arts can be recognized in our homeland. A
Wow.
lot a lot of people had masters had to join together. We had WECAF, we have Arnis Philippines, and now just recently, maybe I think it was 1999. Always only recently was Filipino martial arts recognized as the national sport. So it took
Wow.
And
years.
wow,
It took
wow,
years in our own country
wow.
develop it. So right now, I'm looking at these people right here. I mean, these are like people I just watched on YouTube. Ferd,
Mhm.
and then Master Bradford and Master Darren. This is like people I just watched on YouTube. But now you see, I'm part of it, not just because not because I'm a master, but because I am here to tell the world. And we have a martial arts, and it's a beautiful art, and I'm here to represent my grandfather, his legacy to me, my father,
Mhm.
and the East Coast. I'm
And the
the
East
only one
Coast.
representing the East Coast. Yeah,
Rep the
so
East
so
Coast.
I've trained with my grandfather for years, since I started at 11 years old with him. I trained, and I understand, the burden of having that name in you, because especially in the Philippines, there's a lot of, as Master Roger said, that legacy being passed on to families, especially the
Mhm.
older styles. It's passed on to generations, and there is a certain responsibility to it.
Yes, yes.
So for me, I understood that, and I know how heavy, because Grandmaster Benlema in the Philippines, he's known as, like, they are known as like the pantheon of gods. They are in the top tier of the grandmasters. They're the
Yeah.
big organization, and it's very well known. His style is very well known.
Mhm.
And for me, I said, I don't want to be known just as the grandmaster's grandson, and just because
Mhm.
I have that, people would recognize me. And I didn't want to do that. And I said, you know what, I have to train myself. I
Carve
have
your
to
own
compete.
legacy.
Yeah,
Yes,
Yeah.
to do
sir.
your
And I
legacy.
said, I had to compete, I had to fight, I had to train. I
Yeah.
competed at the national level and the world level, because I wanted to be able to prove to myself that I am worthy,
Worthy.
worthy
Worthy
Absolutely.
of
of
this of,
carrying on
of
that
this name.
legacy. Of carrying
Yes,
on the
because
Absolutely.
legacy.
otherwise I would just be a name, and I didn't want that. I want to, I want to be able to be not just a carrier of the name, but also the um, are responsible. Someone's is responsible for carrying this legacy, and also to end. And I trained for my grandfather from 11 years old to up to college. But when I started working, I started working for 3 years, and then I came to the States. So when I came to the States, I actually walked away. I walked
Mhm.
away from everything. I stopped training. I didn't teach. I was so focused on my career and stuff.
Mhm.
And it was only, and then my father and my sisters and all the masters in the Philippines were like egging me on. You have to go back. You have to start teaching again. You have to start talking about your grandfather again, because you're the only one in the family who trains under him. His sons didn't train under him, only you. So
Mhm.
um, you know I was walked away. So it's almost like a prodigal son. So
Mhm.
to end my introduction, my father passed away 2 weeks ago.
Oh,
Oh,
sorry to
And
hear
sorry to
that.
hear that.
yeah, no, sorry, thank you so much. But the last thing we talked about, and I said, I called him Tata, and I said, Dad, I was invited to California to present at the Legacy 8 series, to represent our family style, to represent my grandfather, and to represent our art. So I
Mhm.
told Grandmaster Darren, say, this means more than anything to me.
Yeah.
My father, those were the last conversations I had to my father. He was so very happy. that I went back. I came back now
That you
to
were
be
picking
able
it back up.
to spread it. So that's why my story is about family,
Yeah.
and this is more. I don't have a school. I just teach people when they come to me as an old school, because I also have a job. But my goal now is to just spread the art, and through to venues like this, where
Yeah.
Yes,
with
yes.
you guys, with all the other teachers, and we have other teachers under us that are teaching route with our own schools. So just being part of this community, I'm very, very thankful, to be able to be part of this, and to have a little bit of your time, to having
Oh,
me, getting me to share the story.
It's an honor
So
to have you.
oh, my
yes.
grandmother,
Honor
there.
to have
This is very. So thank you for everyone, and I look forward to seeing everyone in person.
Yes, yes.
By the way,
We're
Yeah.
gonna have a blast.
I just wanna add that when Sachi was mentioning about the Philippines with made up of 7,100 islands, but that's just during high tide. When it's low tide,
Yes,
there's more there's more islands during low tide.
yeah. It keeps on growing.
Now,
Yeah.
before we move on, now when you talk about the FMA, the Filipino Martial Arts, it has been introduced, to the larger platform, or tried like in the Mortal Kombat series through Grandmaster Sultan Udin, and
Mm,
he did it through
yeah,
Mortal Kombat. He did it in the gaming, so it's been introduced in the film, television, and gaming side. But a lot of people probably didn't know that at the time, as many as they do now. Even with his choreography with the fan fighter, and everything that's in the game and everything. So that's Filipino martial art.
yeah,
So the Filipino martial art is going into that mainstream and is being recognized and brought out by the generation of grandmasters like Darren Tabon in the Legacy series and everything that he's been doing, and then coupled with the works of all of you men that bring to the table. It's big, and it's a big it's a big legacy for that. Everybody has their own legacy that they carry.
Yeah.
Like Darren and Grandmaster Sultan come from Ango Cabalis's system, and so forth. So this is very great. It's a very interesting, and I love these shows and segments for people to see that. That all these different traditions, and like the tribal, like we got from the first part, the tribal thing come together and share.
Yeah.
And that's what the Legacy 8 does, and
Yeah.
that's big. So I'm gonna stay quiet here, and let somebody else get on, because it's all about you gentlemen and what you're bringing to the table in the Legacy 8. Who's next,
Brother,
Darren?
Brother for Toronto, would you like to share some of your history?
Sure. Hi, everyone.
How's it going,
Yeah,
brother?
how's it going, brother Bird?
I've just been like silent and listening because
Oh yeah,
I
yeah.
prefer to just shut up and listen,
Uh-huh.
until I have something to
Are
contribute.
you in California as well?
I was, I live in Eugene, Oregon now.
Oh, Oregon. Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
I moved.
Okay.
Yeah, I moved up here last year because of a job. So
Yeah.
I guess we're doing intros, right? So for a lot of people that don't know, I work in the game industry.
Ah,
I am an animator in video game development.
ah.
Yeah, actually, just anybody here play Call of Duty?
Yeah.
Yeah, Call of Duty.
So the newest game, the newest version that just came out, Call of Duty Vanguard, is the last project I worked on.
Right.
Wow.
So I did a lot of animation for that. So
So
I
you the
can't-
reason I die all the time.
I'm not doing it.
You need to
I-
cheat those. You need to cheat
I
those.
tell people I just provide the motions. It's the game designers that make things work.
Yeah. So you incorporate your Filipino martial art and into that game system. That's
In
big.
this one, I did. So
Wow.
if anybody plays this game and you see a certain soldier use a red hand stick and
Yes, sir. I
and
saw that.
knives to
Yeah.
kill certain soldiers, it might be a certain somebody that animated that.
That's big.
dope.
That's
There's
big, man.
also there's also a certain Japanese soldier that's executing and doing fatality moves. So
That's dope, man.
Yeah.
so,
That's one of
dope.
the popular. That's one of the popular games out there on the market these days.
Oh man,
Yeah,
Call of Duty is the game. Like it is
Yeah.
one of the
Yeah.
top 5 games. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Like, so,
ironically, I'm really bad at it. Like I'm
yeah,
I'm like
yeah.
a big wall. I'm like I always die like within the first few minutes. Like the game starts. The first thing I do is try to find a place to hide, but somebody
Look.
jumps over and just shoots you,
See?
and then you have to respawn.
See, I don't feel bad because I swear I feel like I'm just target practice. You know what I'm talking about?
No, that's me too. And yeah, it happens a lot when we're testing it because I work with people who've been working on these types of games for like 20 years now.
Yeah.
Yes.
The only thing they do. I only jumped on it to work on this particular project. So I don't know much about all the what goes on in that development. They're just like, okay, here's your assignment, animate this guy and that guy, animate this character, racking the slide and operating their whatever their weapon is. And that's it. That's my main responsibility, and then they put it together.
Right.
So that's what I do. And then of course on the side I train in FMA just like everybody here.
Yes.
I train in a system called Pikiri Tersha Kali. It's one of the, I guess, more classical styles or classical systems that is predominantly edge weapons. There's impact weapons and empty hand work as well, but the primary emphasis is edge weapons.
Swords.
Swords, obviously.
Blades.
Knives, but that's not the primary FMA I started with. Actually, I was still in art school. This was in the 97, 98. I was training with, I believe this guy had a background in Doce Pares, I think. But when he was teaching, he didn't call it Doce Pares. I guess he's trying to create his own style. So, but I didn't know any better. So I just thought, hey, they do Filipino martial arts, so I want to try it. I did that for a short bit, and then later on, I found out about Grandmaster Ray Galang of Calis Ilustrísimo. So that was actually my first real exposure in FMA, like a legit system. But I didn't get to train there very long. I think I only trained like for a couple months until I ran out of money. So I didn't have a job. I was in art school, and I had a part-time job, and it was just like enough to pay for my car and gas and food. And of course, art supplies, and so I think I only did it for like a couple of months, and then didn't do martial arts for like the longest time, and still until I got a real job, doing what I trained to do. And I'm like, okay, I'm making money now. Let's see, what can I'm gonna try a little bit of Hunggar Kung Fu. I did that, and then I got laid off, so obviously stopped training that, and then I just kind of dabbled in different types of martial arts, Muay Thai, a tiny bit, capoeira when I moved to Chicago in 2005, and that's where I met another gentleman, Mahaguru Nate Defensor. He recently passed away. So now look at him. Got me introduced to Serrada, Eskrima, Pikiti Tertia Kalis a lot, right? Because he trained in a bunch of different styles. Um, and then I moved to California and started training in Inosanto system, the Inosanto Lacoste Kali system and Chikondo. And then at that time, I met my first Pikiti Tertia teacher in San Francisco. So basically, I jumped ship and decided to pursue Pikiti Tertia Kali, exclusively. Because when I was training in the Inosan system, there were a lot of drills there that my Sifu would refer. Oh yeah, this comes from Pikiti Tertia. The Palusot drill that's heavily influenced by Pikiti Tertia. So he kept saying that name, and I'm just like, I got really curious and started to look it up to see if there's somebody teaching this particular system. And I found one guy in San Francisco, and I was his student for a good number of years. And then I started training with my primary teacher. He got me connected to a bunch of other masters, Grand Tuhan Leo Guy, obviously, who's the current grandmaster of the system. His nephew, Tuhan Romel Portal, Tuhan Phil Gelina. For those of you who don't know, he's referred to as a sled dog of the Dog Brothers. And of course my teacher, Tuhan Tim Wade. So Tuhan Tim Wade is he's actually one of the people responsible for promoting FMA to the military back in the 90s, like 94, I think it was. So the Filipino Marines were introduced to Pikiti Tertia, so it became kind of their official CQC fighting system, and that kind of just what made our system very, very popular, because it was associated with the Marines. So when I started training in 2008, that's like, everybody is in this commando phase. Everybody's wearing the fatigues and black shirts and strutting around like they're all a bunch of deadly killers, but really they live in like a suburban whatever town somewhere.
Right.
So kind of, I got swept up in all that for a tiny bit, in the beginning, because I didn't know any better. And then as time went, I'm like, I don't like wearing this stuff. Kind of stupid. To me.
Too much.
I mean, I wear my organization's shirt with the crest and everything, but as far as like wearing the fatigues and combat boots, I'm kind of not my thing. I wear kilts. That's what I wear.
Yeah, you wear kilts.
So that became kind of my signature thing. Like one of the few Asians that can pull off a kilt. So. And I met Guru Roger in the Bay Area when I was still pretty much kind of coming up in the ranks, so to speak. He was teaching a Lameco seminar at Guru Roger. It was Sifu Brenda's new school, right? She just opened a new school then.
Yeah, that was in
Yeah.
Redwood.
I'm friends with all his students, like Hyle Campbell and a few others. So I decided, I've never trained Lameco before. Again, we kind of, there was some Lameco material when I was doing the Inosanta system, but it's not right. I didn't spend enough time in that school, so I thought
it was an honor to meet you during that.
Yeah, same. Yes, Guru Roger, super nice guy, man, and his stuff is legit. So, so I was very happy.
Ferd, when you started wearing kilts, that was when I decided that you are my idol. You are the one and only martial artist in the FMA world that wears that. So I said, this is, I don't know if I should speak under, but I think you're the man.
Yeah, I mean, peek under at your own risk, but like actually I wasn't the one who started it. I don't know if anybody here know of Loki. God, I forget his last name, but Master Master not Loki, Master Toki. He's a
Yeah,
Kaiju
I know
Kimbo
him.
FMA instructor,
Yeah,
also a dog verse fighter.
with
Little
Sony.
guy,
With
yeah,
Sony.
little bald guy, and very tough guy. And he got me kind of, he's the one who introduced me to wearing kilts actually, because he showed up. He came up to the Bay for like a workshop, and I'm like, "Where'd you get those? Those are interesting."
I
And he
like
just,
them, huh?
yeah, I like them. They're
Nice and
really,
airy.
there's something manly about this skirt, and yeah, he just started sending me the info like where he gets them, and so I decided to experiment and try one on. And it's like, if I get laughed at, I'm like, okay, that's it. I'm back to shorts, But like, yeah, I was like surprised because I was like everywhere I went, like it's usually funny enough, it's coming from the ladies. They're like, oh, I love your kilt, like
That's your story. That's your story.
Yes,
I'm
it's
gonna
my
let you
story.
tell that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what you're supposed to say.
That's yours.
Yeah, so it's I was surprised, the guys are a little bit more kind of, they don't know what to think of it or say, but like the ladies always love it, and it's always the older ladies too. They're like, oh, I love what you're wearing, and like they don't care that I have a knife on the belt. Like, we just accepted it as part of the outfit. Even the cops didn't give me any problems. I'm walking around with a a fixed blade on my belt, and yeah, they're just kind of like, yeah, cool, but I guess
you got a dress on and a knife. You might be a hairdresser. Believe me, that's the way cops think.
I guess if there's a crime that happened involving a knife, and the description is a dark-skinned, bald Filipino guy with a mohawk wearing a kilt.
Wearing a kilt.
Yeah,
it's only one person.
I'm not hard to find,
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh, there was a knife attack at Whole Foods. Like, what did he look like? Oh, he had blonde hair. Oh, okay, can't be that guy.
Blonde hair.
Yeah. Unless I'm wearing a wig, I guess. Yeah. And Grandmaster Darren, we met on the first, was it Legacy 6, right?
Legacy 6.
Yeah. So yeah, Grandmaster Darren, we got introduced because one of his former students, right, came to one of my sparring events, and there's so many people from different styles that came. I made a point of taking a note like who comes from what system or what style they represent, so I can kind of put their name out and their style out. So when I made my highlight video, the names of the different styles and the fighters, of those styles, they're on they're indicated on the video. And I guess I think that's how Grandmaster Darren kind of found out about it, and then we started talking, and then later he invited me to Legacy 6, and I was kind of like, I was blown away because I've known about Legacy 6 for a good couple of years already. I know it's a big event, with all these different FMA masters, sharing their knowledge and stuff. And I'm kind of like, I was honored, but at the same time, I'm like, what the heck am I going to share with these guys? Because everybody's more experienced than I am. Like, I don't know what I'm going to show. And, but he was like, oh, just be, do what you're comfortable with, and don't worry too much, everybody's cool. So I'm like, okay, cool. So so I had a blast. I really, really enjoyed it. And again, thank you for inviting me to that. So I'm honored to return this time again for
honored to have you, brother. And Legacy 6, you did great. You did great.
Yeah, and
You shared
it's
a
so
Any
cool.
lot
tips
of
from
Yeah,
your
it's so
third?
cool to meet everybody. I met like there's so many people I met there that I've known on Facebook only, and then I met them face to face finally.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right, right.
And the funny thing is when we're all talking, we're not really like talking about like martial arts per se. We're talking about like food and
That's
you
it.
know
Mhm.
where do we like to hang out? What do we like? Oh, so and so likes to go fishing. I go with him, and they're like, oh, but so
Life
that's,
experiences.
Mhm.
yeah, it's not like we're not talking shop. I guess that's one of
Yeah.
the things
Yeah.
I don't like is talking shop because then it's like
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. It just feels artificial to me. It's just like at
Mhm.
work. When I hang out with coworkers and we're having a beer and a burger and they want to talk shop, I just shut off because it's like, hey man, we're not at work. Like let's not talk
Yeah.
about work.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Let's talk about like what you guys want to you guys want to hang out this weekend or do something. Yeah,
Do
that's
you,
what I want to talk about.
do
Right?
you like this color of my kilt?
What do you think? I'm trying out the hot pink pattern.
Does
dig
this
it?
plaid look good on me?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
red
So
or the green?
I'm gonna try to wear. I'll do my best to wear my kilt at this event.
Yes, sir. Nice.
Legacy
I'll bring it to the East Coast. Now it's too cold here, though. It's too cold.
Hey,
I-
do he
cold.
look like the type of guy that cares if it's cold? Do he?
That's not so. This is
Oh, yeah,
funny.
it is from Scotland. It's actually-
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how it works, but this last couple of days I've been out in at the outdoor range, and it's like, what was it yesterday? It was like 34 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Today
yeah.
was
yeah.
36, and I was wearing my kilt, and I was
See?
Yeah,
I was
know.
colder up here than down there. Like down there, I was okay. I was all warm.
It's a
Your
blanket.
legs, your
It's a
legs.
blanket.
I'm wearing this, like jacket, and I'm like freezing. Like
The blood work.
Yeah.
so, it's like I just had to keep moving, but I just noticed like damn, like down by my legs, I actually feel kind of hot,
The
So,
blood.
but I don't
the
know how
blood.
it doesn't. I don't know how it works, But
Oh man.
yeah, they're comfortable. They be like, oh, aren't you cold? They're like, no, it's actually. It's I don't know. It regulates temperature down there. Really, I don't know.
I lived in this mess half my life. I never get used to it.
It's okay. It's okay. Look.
It's okay.
And
Never
if
get used
anybody
to it.
make you feel bad, you can beat them up anyway. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
that's right.
So it's a
That's
win-win.
right.
You don't want to hurt my feelings about this. You trust me.
I'm a peace loving man. I don't. Yeah.
You
That's
ain't.
what the knife is for there, under there.
Exactly.
That's just an accessory. It
Says
actually
the guy,
doesn't work. It doesn't
says the
even
guy
come
who
out.
works
It's
on
glued
Call of
inside.
Duty.
Yeah, no.
Yeah. Call of Duty.
Says the guy that works on Call of Duty. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
So,
That's huge.
it surprises people. Like I've been mistaken. It happened again today. I always get mistaken for a military person.
Yeah.
But I guess it's not. I guess I can understand. I wear green and coyote colors. Earth tones, right? And
Yeah.
I
And
wear
your
a certain
haircut.
way.
And your haircut.
And my haircut. So
First thing they think, oh, he's a jarhead.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. That's what they say.
it's not like I'm wearing
right?
what is it? The face paints and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Ready for war. Ready for war. You know what I mean?
I'm just going out to get a bottle of milk. I don't want nobody to see me. So
Oh yeah.
I want to blend in.
Oh, now. Speaking of blending in, we got Brother Bradford, who has been here patiently waiting. You know what I mean? We
He's
saved
been
the
dropping
best
in
for
and out.
last.
Yeah,
Last but not least. You know what I'm saying? Brother
Yeah, I guess.
Bradford, you know what I mean? Tell us about your story and why is this event so important to you? And just tell us your experiences, brother.
Well, first of all, I'd like to thank you guys. Aloha from me, from the
the islands of Hawaii to the United States here. Thank you so much for my brother Darren, Grandmaster Darren, for inviting me to this stuff on Sunday. Well, I can see you guys. You guys.
Okay.
We can't see you though,
Okay.
but that's fine. Go ahead.
All right, so that's how
Darren.
GM Darren and I met, and then he invited me to the first. Yeah, and he invited me to the first Legacy, and from then I did everything. I mean, I did every single one of them except the one where Guru Fred was at the I think it's Legacy 6. I didn't get to do that one with Guru Fred, and I think the one with Master Joe, I think the 4th in Hawaii.
Okay.
All right, that brother. Yeah, he's having.
Yeah, he had a technical difficulties.
It's probably a lot of internet traffic, going on. It's Sunday night, so in that area, that population, there's a lot of internet traffic.
Yeah, so that's the only time I think I missed 2 of them. Yeah, I missed 2 of them out of the many that he has put. So there's 8. I think I only did 6 of them, but the 2 I missed was 6 and 4, I believe, with Master Joe and Guru Fred. I think that's the only 2 that I didn't make it to, but I did every other one. And so my background is from Hawaii. I started very young in the martial art. My family, going back to grew from the East Coast. Everything with our family, with my family, started off with learning how to train in a martial art, but learning how to hurt people. When you're younger, you have that mentality. But as I got older, my family started teaching me more of the healing. So to hurt someone, you got to know how to heal someone. And so I was taught how to make medicine. I was taught how to make all type of different medicine, how to grow the plants, how to make the herbs, and how to put it inside to make, and then learn the style of my Polynesian heritage, which is the Lomi Lomi. But I did also learn the Filipino style of the healing, as well as the Okinawan style and the Indonesian style of the healing. So I kind of combined that. And then about 8 years ago, I was called to go down to Mexico, and I was met by me and this other person was met by 6 shamans from 6 different American Indian tribes down in Mexico. And we got to live with them for 3 months and learn their style. And the question that they had for us was, so they asked us, so we had an opportunity to ask them a question. And so my question was to them was, how come you're teaching us and not nobody in your tribe, like in their different tribe? And they said we couldn't find anybody that was worthy, but we had dreams of you guys that we brought to you to see us. So we stayed with them. We stayed with them for 3 months. For 3 months, and we learned everything that they taught us, from the native plants to their type of healing. And then after we left, after that 3 months, 6 weeks after that, they died. All 6 of them.
Wow.
All 6 of these different shamans, from Paiute Indian to the Navajo to the Southern Apache to the Cherokee, all those tribes down in the South regions between California and Mexico and Arizona, going down that side. And so we had the opportunity to learn from these shamans, and so I started blending a lot of the stuff that I do. So my daughter would tell people, "So how did you learn this?" Well, my dad showed us how to hurt people, and now he's showing us how to heal people. So that is my goal, is to really teach people what is true martial art about. To me, true martial art comes from 4 levels. There's the physical side of what you hear, what we're talking about tonight, that physical side of what we have learned. And then you got your meditation, breathing, and that makes how we can breathe and move as we dance along with our weapons or non-weapons, our open hands, how we do our thing. And then from there, you have your healing. Your healing is what you can do and to help others, no matter is it physically, mentally, spiritually, just stuff like that. And then you have your enlightenment, which is your spiritual level, where your ancestors or those that your teachers that talked, that will help you find that way, like you finding that light and that avenue, so you can teach it. That's why we are who we are as martial artists, and this is what I see and perceive in what I'm doing, and helping sharing my knowledge and helping sharing my mana'o. My mana'o is my mind and what I'm saying. And so my pu'uvai is my heart, is my emotion that I want to share with people, and my gut, my na'au, that means that's my feeling that I want to share my energy and spirit with you, so we can be on one level. But with this time, the people that I've been working on for a long time, one was Sugar Shane Mosley, and I used to travel with him, and I used to help him when with the time that he needed my help, and I helped out other people, and I'm always out there if people want to come see me. I have people from Italy and from Canada, from Mexico that comes to me to California to come see me, because I refuse. Not that I refuse to go see them; it would just cost them too much money for me to go over there and go see them.
Right.
So I said, if you come to see me, then don't worry about it. So it's all good. So that's what I'm bringing up to Northern California, is what I was taught in the martial art. My teacher, the person that I learned from, his name was Grandmaster Rudy Orlando. He came under Floro Villabrel. He was one of Floro Villabrel's students. He trained with him. I got to train with him back in the 70s, and we went, for about 30 years I was with my teacher. And so I've been with him, and so I have that I'm going to share with the people up in Northern California, and some of the healing. I'm actually bringing my daughter, who actually does this in Texas. She's learning that, and she's going to show. We're going to have something there, and so I make my own rice wine. I make my own apple pie. I don't know if anybody's from the Southern state, but when you say apple pie, it's basically apple cider moonshine style.
Yeah.
So I make stuff like that. I make my own
He
medicine
said y'all talk
and my
about
own
food a
coconut
lot.
oil
That's
that
what
I'm
he
going to
said.
bring up and share with everybody up there. So at least you got a kind of thing that I.
Yeah.
We got him.
That's dope, though.
That's big. So the Legacy 8, Darren, is going to be very, very festive, very, very educational, and I think people all over should show up there and get some instructions and learn some things, from the masters, grandmasters.
Yeah. So just like Master Joe, I grew up in the same environment, on the island, and it's an island. So, if we have to do our thing, we had to do our thing. There's no place to run because you're on an island in the middle of the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah.
So if you had to do your thing, you had to do it right there.
Yeah.
You were called out. You were called right there.
Yeah.
And I understand what Master Joe went through because I went through the same thing, just like Grandmaster Darren. We all went through that same thing. They just did it up here in California. I did it in Hawaii.
Yeah.
You know, so when you're called out, you got to do what you got to do. So it's all good. But now, as we get up there, we look at things in a different way. So, my focus is showing the physical stuff, but also showing where we hurt at. I can show you how to heal it and use different type of herbs and medicine to heal it. Because I remember when I first started, and I don't know if any of the other gentlemen went through this, but I remember my auntie and my auntie used to tell me, never trust a Filipino with a newspaper under its arm or a magazine. I go, why? Because that newspaper and magazine, when they roll up, it hurts worse than a stick. So that's how my teacher would start off with. It would be a roll-up newspaper or roll-up magazine. When they hit, it hurt. It hurt worse than this. I'd rather get hit by the stick than the magazine or the newspaper. Because when you roll it up, it's like 10 times stronger than a piece of than a stick. Because
Go ahead, Darren.
Well, I'd like to chime in. First of all, I think Brad got cut off how we met. And how we met was Disney martial art festivals. See, Brad was demonstrating the breaking. And what you got to understand about Brother Brad is he's the kind of guy that can take 10 stacks of bricks. He can put a shot glass in his hand and break all the bricks with his fingertips without breaking the shot glasses. And that's the first time I witnessed. So when he's talking about the rolled up newspaper, he also demonstrates breaking bricks, boards, stacks of boards with that rolled up newspaper.
So he the one who probably could teach me how to fly then, huh?
But here's the ironic thing about it, and I've talked to Brad about this. When my great grandpa went from Philippines to Hawaii to Stockton, California, that was his favorite weapon, a rolled up magazine.
Wow.
My great grandpa, and that's back in the 1920s. Here in Stockton, California. So me and Brother Brad, we talked about that. And he goes, yeah, I'm into that too. See, that's what my great grandpa did too. He used a rolled up magazine in the streets.
Legacy. Wow.
It's a legacy. But also understand about Brother Brad. In the beginning of like the cage fighting, he was also a fighter too in Hawaii. Okay, during Dennis Alexio time, if any of you guys remember him, he was fighting, in the same arena, but he's a very powerful man, very powerful. He could do things with his fingertips, also in his healing. He's worked on me. He could break down your meridian. If you have a pulled muscle or anything, he'll tell you where it's at, hit a pressure point, go to it, boom, and rip it right out. And you're healed. So you're going to notice one thing about Brother Brad Namahoy. You could go to any of the legacies he's been to, and there's constantly people walking up to him. I've had headliners, and you guys met him last week, Sifu Herender.
Yeah, Herender.
It was a Legacy 5. Bradford brought his table. Herender pulled something in his calf, I believe. And he told me, he goes, GM, I don't think I'm going to be able to perform. I could barely walk.
Wow.
And I said, there's Brother Brad right there. Brother Brad had him lay on a table, and within minutes, if you watch the trailers of Legacy 5 and watch Herender sing Sarbalwal, it didn't look like he had any injury whatsoever.
Wow.
He could barely walk when he came in. So, Brother Brad is a great healer. He's also a great martial artist with rich history from Hawaii to the mainland here in California. And I think meeting him 2006 at Disney Martial Art Festival when we first connected, and we became good friends. I call him my brother, and things we talk about from the island, experiences here, Ed Parker, internationals. Brad knows everybody, everybody. And if you'd like to share some of that, bro, have at it.
Yeah.
I had to share that piece.
So Master Bradford, you don't just pour some Robitussin on the hurt area?
No.
Got some I pulled the muscle. I put some Robitussin on it.
Robitussin. That tussin kill everything, dog.
That's the old
brother got still tip fingers, man.
Wow.
I believe you.
Yeah, he'll heal you real quick.
I believe you. So the Legacy 8 lineup is set, for December the 4th in San Carlo.
Yes.
At the Twin Dragon Kung Fu Academy. It's going to be a huge event. For anybody out there in the area, this is the place to be that day.
Absolutely.
You better make a point to clear your schedule to get over there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And another thing I like to say is, this being my 8th legacy, all the people that I've had the opportunity to meet, even Brother Ferd, Toronto, we got to talk, we got to communicate, we got to talk story, okay? Each and every person in every one of my legacies, I've got to know on a personal level about our past, our lives, and everything else, and who their teachers were, where they come from. And I think that's been a great gift for me to experience in my life, meeting so many different martial artists with the same love and devotion of what we learned from our grandmasters. And this is what made it so sentimental to me, along with meeting so many great people. So I just wanted to say that. And P.stock, Bigg Wall, thank you for this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank
No
you.
problem at
Coming
all.
through. Thank all of you.
Thank you
Thank you so much
for taking your time out to share your arts and experience with our audience.
Thank you.
And I'm finding out, and I heard it from Salton.
Thank you so much.
Stockton, California sounds like Camden, New Jersey. Sasha, you know about Camden, New Jersey?
Oh, yes.
Right? Yeah, Stockton, it sounds like Camden. And then if I'm correct, that means it's hard. You grow up hard there, but you come out of it on the other side a more full and better person coming through that experience.
So,
they're doing a renaissance in Camden right now. Like, they this what do you call this? The people are creating great social work down there in Camden.
Well, that's funny. And if you're not familiar, Camden, New Jersey, a little small town right across the bridge from Philadelphia. Okay, little town, the most violent place at one point. I don't know about anymore because it was riddled with corruption and everything else.
Yeah,
probably much like Stockton, places like that. Especially in the police force, in the local governments. Like the mayor's office on down. I think they got rid of Camden's police. I think the county police is Camden. So it's one of those type of towns.
The problem with Stockton, California is when you look at all the different cities throughout California, Richmond, okay, down south, when somebody's paroled for the last 40 years, they send them to Stockton. So you bring this criminal element into a small city, and folks just know how to be good criminals. They know how to live off the system. Know what I mean? And I think that's been one of the biggest problems with Stockton, California. Okay, it's Fresno. Okay, they go out on probation. Boom, they send them to Stockton. Richmond, Oakland, San Francisco, they'll send them to Stockton. Now I heard they're moving them down further north now like toward Lake Shasta area.
Wow.
But when you look at the makeup of Stockton, it's been a dumping ground for a lot of criminals for the past 40, 50 years.
Wow.
And yes, that's what has created such a bad element in the city. And, you know, growing up here, ain't nothing was easy. Brother Joel will talk about it. It's like if I told you, hey, man, I'm going to hit a store after we're done, you got to really watch what you're doing here.
Absolutely.
Walking up to your car, getting out of your car. You got to watch out pumping gas. I've had scrap 4 o'clock in the morning headed to work, you know, at the gas pump. You see guys rolling up on you, they're going to rob you.
Yeah.
And they usually hit first or stab first.
Yeah.
So before anything could happen, I will drop a dude if he walks up on me like that.
Yeah.
But that's the mentality and the street smart you got to have in a town like this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
and like Master Joel said, you know, people will try you. He even said it. You know, he never start fights. They always start with him.
Always start with him.
So that's that element, you know, that I understand. You know, with a little bit of that's everywhere. You know. But go ahead, Brother Ferd. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No. I was just gonna say. So, am I to understand I'm the only one who grew up in a nice neighborhood?
Was that involved?
The ice cream man doesn't try to molest you, or I mean, the most violent encounter I had growing up was some kid walking up to, hey, I heard you're good at Street Fighter 2? You got Nintendo? Won't you come on my place? I'll fight you. You know.
Wow.
My mom's cooking something tonight. You know.
See. That's why you're so comfortable. That's why you're so comfortable wearing them kilts, because you can't do that in the hood.
Yeah, you can't do that.
You know what I'm saying? You can't do that in the hood. You gonna fight every day.
Yeah. That's why it's so good. But hey, gentlemen, it's been a pleasure, and it's always been a pleasure. And and Hip Hop TV and Address the Culture, and I can speak for Big Wall on this. We are following the FMA, and we're right there with y'all. And you know, we'd love to have you guys on anytime. You know, anytime you just want to have events coming up, your own events, and you want to get it out there and get involved. And before we go, Darren, I want to talk about, you know, the cemetery, to shout out that, because we got to get that message out. And what's the status on that situation?
What I did is I got involved with a group called the Wailua Plantation.
Yes.
On Oahu. And I tapped into that group and I shared your shout out. And thank you very much to iFreedom TV, P.stock, Aluden 19. Thank you very much for voicing that. I think what really bothers me the most is a lot of folks watch that, okay? But a lot of folks living on the island had no idea what they were doing to Pu'uiki Cemetery on North Shore. So what does that tell you?
Yeah. So it was important that information was put out there like that to be shared with everybody.
Yes, and thank you very much. By launching that out, people that live on the island are just now becoming aware of what's happening to the cemetery.
Wow.
So what does that tell you?
Wow.
How are they working?
Yeah.
You know, how are the developers
corruption
getting land?
It's corruption. It's all corruption.
It's got to be corruption. It's got to be corruption.
It's all corruption.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So thank you, guys.
I just got a question. I just want to just give a shout out. If any of you guys are up there and need any assistance of me helping you guys, just let me know when I'm up there.
Please do, brother.
That'll be cool.
Please do.
So if you guys need anything, I will help you guys. If when you guys up there, just let me know and just come up and see my daughter and I, and we can do it. We can work on it.
Really appreciate that, bro.
So I'm putting that out there for you guys.
You might make me come out there because I got a knee, a back, a hip, everything that needs work on.
Look at him.
That man is good. He's good.
I used to work on a lot of the MMA stars out of here in California, like Josh Barnett and the Four Horsewomen. I used to work on them. So whatever I can do to help you guys, just let me know, man. Let my daughter and I know. We'll be
there y'all go. December 4th, Legacy 8.
Legacy 8.
I like that Chicago sign. That's a good Chicago sign back there. Bears fan.
That's right.
Oh, my man. Hey, I like that. Look. Hey, look. Hey, man, you connected, man. I'm trying to figure out how to fly. You know what I'm saying? I need to know. All right. It sounds like you can get me there, brother. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh man, hey, I'll tell you what. If I make you some ava, you can be on that flight. You can be on a plane, but you won't feel anything. You'll be sleeping all the way till you get to your destination.
Hey, we got a little thing over in the States like that. It's called Hennessy. You know what I'm saying? We want that old yak. You know what I'm talking about? We want to thank you guys for coming, giving us y'all time, y'all energy. We really appreciate it. This will not be the last time we have you guys on our platform. We would like to have you guys on individually as well to tell your story and get more into detail about your story.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Absolutely. So consider this your home away from home. We are locked in. We appreciate you guys' story. Time is something that we can't get back, so we appreciate you guys giving us y'all's, okay?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Big Wall.
Thank you.
P.stock. Luton 19. Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. So we will be talking to you guys soon, and we want everybody to stay in tune for Legacy 8. You know what I mean? A great event. Get in tune where culture, respect, knowledge is passed on and is great for the culture. You already know the vibes. So like, comment, subscribe, share, join the platform. And if anything you guys want to talk about, let us know, and we'll be sure to talk about it. So you already know the vibes. This is your boy, Big Wall.
All right. This is your man, P.stock.
Beautiful.
And this is Address the Culture. And like we always say, your culture makes you who you are. So make sure they respect it. We're going to catch you on the next episode.
Amen to that.
We up out of here.
All right. Peace, brother. Peace.
It's 64 boy.
Scratch. Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture, huh? Addressing the culture, I'm addressing the culture. We gon' talk about it. Come address the